What did I get out of being a circler this summer? Basically, being a circler rewrote my history as a person. It's changed from pre-circle life to post-circle life.
It's one of the greatest decisions I've made because it invites me to find myself as much as I want, and invites me to help other people find themselves, younger campers, as much as you want, as much as they want.
Yeah, it's really changed me as a person also in how I relate with other people. I think that the communication strategies that I've learned that were one of the main reasons that I wanted to apply in the beginning are really going to be valuable to me throughout life. And so those are for sure something that's, going to change how I solve disputes with people.
I feel like I've learned so much more in 3 weeks here than I did all school year.
You look at the world just in a really amazing new way, and communicating with people is so much more pleasurable.
It makes me open my eyes to all the possibilities in the world and all the possibilities of communication and relationships. I've learned how to deepen my relationships with people. I've learned how to communicate with them with ease rather than having to yell and scream and use dirty communication to get through things, but instead just kind of talking it through and being comfortable with everyone.
The first 2 weeks I learned a lot about myself, and mostly just how to be a human being and what it means to be one. I addressed a lot of my fears and a lot of my hopes and a lot of my strengths and growth areas and challenges and a lot of things that pretty much go unaddressed and sometimes unnoticed in everyday life. I also learned how to respond to that knowledge, how to work on my growth areas, how to utilize my strengths, how to feel pain and sadness and grief and know that that's totally okay. A lot of things that might be unique to Circle.
But now I have all these skills that will help me just communicate with people and be with all my relationships, and if I ever want to be a mom, I know how to work with kids, and it's brought me a great deal of confidence as well as a great deal of independence. And going on to senior year and applying for college, I'm going to be seeking more of that independence out, and now that I'm more sure of who I am and what I believe in, it's definitely changed me. I'm growing up.
Is what is it actually like to live in the camp community, good and bad? Everyone at Camp Augusta, just the way they communicate makes everything so much easier. You don't have to worry about if someone's like says one thing but feels a different way. Like, everyone's really honest and upfront, and it's really helpful in situations because there's a lot less conflict.
Camp chooses people that are already, and by their own right, just fantastic, and then it gives them these tools to express their emotions and how they're feeling, and express it in the best way possible. And by doing that, you get this just amazing person, and those are the people that are camp, and that is what makes camp so great.
And so I think that the magic of camp really comes from all the staff members and how much they care and like how much time they put into really like being the best Camp Augusta counselor or hero or whatever they can.
The great thing about Circle is that there is a support system that is there for you. Mega and Lizzie and all the other circlers are always there for you when you need them. There's no punishment for not rising to the occasion, but that gives you the self-motivation to want to get to that next level.
I was helping Molly at the Craft Shack Ferry, and she was like, go take the stuff out of the trash, or she requested that I do that. And I was like lifting the thing up and like putting the trash in, and I just realized then like I'm really happy to be doing this. I learned this summer what Wish, Wonder, and Surprise really means, and how much work has gone into it for the past, I've been coming for 6 years, so for the past 6 years, how much work has gone into making this environment for me, and then I got to be part of it, which was really powerful.
We're 16, 17-year-olds. Life is confusing. Life is crazy. We've all got issues, problems, and things that stress us out. And we've come together and we've talked, we've communicated, we've spoken with intentionality. And all of a sudden, most of our fears and worries and stresses and struggles and problems, they seem doable. They seem, like, manageable.
I had never really felt passionate about anything, and that was something that really scared me. It made me worry that maybe I wasn't getting life the way everyone else was. And I feel like I know what passion is now. I think I know what it means, and I feel passionate about being here and working with these children and the lovely staff here, and just being part of something much bigger than myself, and being excited purely by the fact that I can help.
I have a new family now. 2 new families. Circle family, the 15 of us, including me. It's my new family. My other new family was Mike and the Cedar One boys, Finn, Sam, Josh, Andrew, and Will, who I love very dearly and who I wish I could hang out with every day of the week.
It was basically 9 months of anticipation in one day. And meeting all these people, I was so uncomfortable. I also was so prepared. I read the staff manual. I thought I knew all these topics to the T. And coming and arriving to Circle in camp just made my mind go blank. I forgot how to even talk to someone at first. I took a step back and I realized how important the next 3 weeks would be.
I think the thing that scared me the most that I didn't think would scare me was assuming a role of responsibility for 5 lives that I didn't feel completely confident that I was going to do a good job in. And in Manzi, I thought, I might screw this up a lot, and it's not just on me, it's going to affect these kids. And I didn't have a very open mind going into it. I thought they were just going to be like unicorns, horses, dogs, sparkles, glitter. And they were, but they were also people. And I had a really amazing opportunity.
You're in close proximity to a few number of people for a long time, and that essentially makes opportunities to learn, how to just not run away with things that are bugging you. That just all applies here. And I think it also helps encourage the clean communication, just because you can't be jackling about them all summer. It's just not going to work. If you're going to work in harmony, that needs to be thought about and talked about.
Okay. From your experience, what is the difference between someone who excels in Circle and someone who struggles? Okay. Well, someone who excels in Circle is someone who wants to put their ideas out, wants to, help, aid, and is all for helping out camp, and also wants that growth and change to happen inside them. Like, it's just as open as possible and as willing as possible to better themselves and better camp.
I also think someone who excelled in Circle and someone who struggled was someone who really stuck to the camp manual and really had their cabin, their well-being, the cabin's well-being as their top priorities. The people who I think excelled really put themselves out there with all other counselors and with all the clinics they did, and really was ready to step up to that leadership and didn't really resent any leadership that was given to them. By the third week, they are very much themselves and they are very much loud and proud about it, and they encourage others to be the same.
For me, that difference mostly manifests itself sort of in your attitude towards Circle. I noticed that there were some people who had a lot more of a difficult time because they really took an attitude of what they wanted to get out of it, and what they wanted was really firm. And when things weren't going the way they thought they would, I think that got difficult for some people. For me, I think that I had an easier time with that because I was less attached to where I was going. I had some ideas just because I liked kind of, imagining what might happen. But when that was completely different from how the Circle program really affected me, that was very okay. The kind of misunderstanding the expectations and the tremendous amount of work. It's the end of a 1-week session. I am absolutely bone dead exhausted. I want to go to sleep for 5 hours and then go to sleep for the evening. I think that it could quite potentially be an issue where someone feels like they're not getting enough time. Imagine what it feels like to be a camper, where you're constantly being pulled from scheduled item to scheduled item. But then imagine that you're doing that as well, but not only that, but you're expected to constantly have energy and enthusiasm. It could be you could overcome it with the right strategies, but I could definitely see it as being something where someone could struggle, where they really underestimate how much work they're going to be doing, and get then surprised when it's really a lot of kind of work.
I was genuinely excited by feedback that I got because these were ways that I could do it more and better and faster and easier, and I recommend this to everyone that's willing to put their 100% in and scare themselves and challenge themselves and love themselves.
What would I want someone to know before applying for Circle?
It's not like being a camper. You really don't get that wish, wonder, and surprise that you have as a camper. It always, wish, wonder, surprise always comes to Camp Augusta, but becoming a circler, you become the process of creating it and knowing the mechanics behind everything. It's like a curtain reveal that all of this energy that camp holds, it takes so much work, and there's actually so much behind it. So being prepared for that, you're not a camper anymore, which is sad, but also you're ready to be a counselor.
Like the hardest part about Circle was the transition from camper to counselor, because you're kind of at this in the middle stage where you're neither, which leaves for a lot of gray area. I think that for me the most frustrating times were times when we were given more leadership than the campers, but then not as much leadership as the counselors. And I found this especially frustrating during our third week, when we wanted to be up late helping our co-counselors with Wookiees, helping with parent letters, and yet we weren't allowed in the staff house, or we were told that they wanted us to go to bed by 11:30.
You are the one that controls how much you get out of this program. It's not really Mega Lizzie or whoever leads it that chooses where you end up after the 3 weeks. The 3 weeks and all the pre-camp stuff is completely up to you.
If you are up to the challenge, seize that opportunity. If you're not up to the challenge, then take some time to meditate on that thought, and hopefully you can hone on either an alternate solution or an alternate path that you can take that you can find growth and fulfillment in, aside from Circle. But hopefully one day you'll wander in Circle I hope that everyone around my age does.
How would you explain being a co-counselor to someone thinking about applying for Circle?
Being a counselor in a cabin for a week, even just like a co-counselor where you have someone all with you always for support, was like one of the most like mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausting things I've done in a long time.
During the week, I think co-counseling is really what you make it to be, just like the rest of the Circle program. But the kind of my words of wisdom are that it's important to know what you want it to be and then communicate that to your co-counselors so that they can have as much of a chance to help you get where you want to be as they can. It's helpful to sit with your counselor in the beginning of the week and talk about what you would like to try and work on, how you can adapt your co-counseling role to adjust to your needs or growth areas, what challenges you can give yourself. In addition, I think that co-counseling really could be almost pretty much being a counselor. There were times when Chris, who I was co-counseling with, basically had things like he was stringing Wookiees or something for half a day, and I just basically took control, made sure the cabin was going from activity to activity and being on time and stuff like that.
There's this weird limbo, and I struggled in finding my place and what I was, and towards the end I was treated more as a counselor, but not quite to what a counselor is actually treated like. So having that mix is definitely difficult, and that makes me wonder what JCing will be like next year.
Am I interested in applying to be a JC? Yes. There have been a lot of counselors in the past that have been major role models for me, and it doesn't come around that opportunity to find role models like the camp counselors I had.
In the beginning, I was like, yeah, Circle's great, I love camp, I want to help out. I want to learn all these things, and being a JC just is like an extension of that. It's another chance to move forward and learn more and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that's going to be fun. I think that now my reasons for applying to be a JC are primarily that this 1 week where I was co-counseling in the cabin exposed so many areas where I feel like I could better myself. And I really view the JC program as a fantastic opportunity for me to try and kind of take in that feedback that I've sort of given myself throughout this program, and then make myself that much better of a person for trying to address those things. Certainly I learned a lot and took in a lot this year, and I think that I'd like to apply to be a JC because it would give me a chance to really polish that in a bit, or polish that in ways. And I think the only way that I can see how this has really changed is by being here and being, kind of trial by fire and seeing where I get burned and fixing that, so to speak.
I want to keep going to camp. I want to keep coming back and being with these people and inspiring the kids and inspiring myself.
I'm also very torn on whether or not I have time. Throughout my last week at camp here with a cabin, I would go to bed every night thinking like this is what I want to do. Having 5 girls that just look up to you so much, it's truly it's incredible. It's an incredible feeling. And with 8 years here, I'm not sure if I'm ready to let it go.
I need to figure out my priorities. If I plan to play sports in college, it might be wise for my future to stay home next summer. But in terms of enjoying the summer and enjoying being me and learning now how to grow without a support system that's right there for you, I would most definitely be in. I would love to be a JC. It would be what I've always wanted to be.
Camp defines me without stealing my own identity, and that's been one of the most important things that's ever happened in my life. Showing who I am without worrying about what others think. That's why I want to be a JC. Because there's unlimited love here for me, and there's unlimited options for me to give love to others, and that's why I want to be alive. That's why I want to be me. All I want to do is spread that magic at camp. Being a circler and being a JC, being a counselor. Hopefully one day getting a directorial role. Basically, I want Tom Hobbs' job.